Captain Francis J. Dougherty. Sailed down the South Atlantic and through the Indian Ocean and went directly to the Gulf of Tonkin and started flying operations. Our first flying period was 44 days long. We reseated, this is kind of interesting, it goes back a bit. Back in the mid-60s or so, when this whole thing started up, there's only 3 ways to supply North Vietnam and the Viet Cong and South Vietnam. That was through the jungles of Laos, which you can imagine wouldn't get much. The Northeast Railway out of China wouldn't get much out of that. And Haiphong Harbor, which the first cruise we were out there, you could see 30 or 40 ships a day going in and out of delivering Russian goods, which would be then put on barges or the Ho Chi Minh Trail and taken down to the Viet Cong in South Vietnam. John McCain's father at the time was Singpac Fleet, I believe, and he said, let's mine Haiphong Harbor to shut that down, because if we shut the supplies down, it's going to change the whole complexion of things. Which a lot of us, and I still think to this day, we would not have had Vietnam as we now have known it, with all the guys that got killed and so forth, if we'd shut that harbor down back in the mid-60s. Well, McNamara, of all people, apparently, the story goes, is that, well, that would be an act of war, right? Well, a lot of us said, well, hey, hello, how about dropping a bomb on something? That's an act of war, too, so give me a break here. At any rate, so they didn't do that back in the day. We went back there in 72, when Nixon was president. The first thing he did was mine the harbor. And so there were 21 ships that were trapped in there, right? And one of our missions, which we didn't care for a whole lot, was to fly up to Haiphong and do a quick take a look to see that they were still there, right? Which was kind of dumb in a way, but that was one of the things we did. But the most, one of the most interesting missions, though, was the bombs that were put, the mines that were put in there had a time life on them. The timing was about to expire. So we were assigned the mission to reseed Haiphong Harbor, which involved a very complicated arrangement of, because when you put mines in there, you have to be really precise as to where they are. You know, very persnickety about that. So we had A7s, A6s, and F4s, all with these mines that were basically a 500-pound bomb with the destructor sensor on them, so the ship would light them off. But they had to be put in different places. Well, it turned out that the 3 airplanes had different sequencings in their intervalometers, which would be the timing for dropping the bombs, dropping the mines. And they had to be, we wanted them to be 500 feet apart, because the radius was about 250 feet for each one, so we wanted to have some overlap there. So to get those in there was really kind of an interesting thing. So our group, we had an A6 leader and 3 F4s, one on the port side of the A6 and 2 on the starboard side. And then the deal was, when the A6 would roll level, he'd start dropping his mines, and so forth. And if for some reason he didn't drop, the first F4 would drop his, and the second F4 would drop his, and the third F4 would drop his. So, well, sure enough, we went there, and you fly up, and we get down to, like, I think we're down to 300 feet, and get ready to do this stuff. So the A6, his stuff doesn't come off. So we drop all our stuff. So we said, okay, we'll go back in with you to get the A6's mines in there, so we had the field set up correctly. So we go back in there, and he's doing his thing. Oh, it felt like a kind of a little bump and a thump type thing, you know. What is that, jet mush? No. So we all fly back to altitude, we're heading back. And so our wings said, did you see that sand that blew up right behind it? It was like one of these visual shots where none of our electronic stuff picked up the radiation signals for either their search or track radar, right? And so they used to do these blind shots when somebody just visual, they see an airplane, they'd shoot one of these missiles at you. So one of those damn near hit us. So that was kind of an interesting outcome of the thing. But yeah, an interesting mission. Well, we were out over the water, and it was a beautiful sunny morning, and the water is beautiful there, and there's some great beaches in the Vietnam area and so forth. So our thing was it was a little bit out into the initial entrances to the harbor. So we weren't over land; we were over the water, and I guess we were probably maybe a mile offshore.